Okay, we're holding in ZEVACHIM on DAF Yud Amud Base, 4 lines from the bottom. Today's DAF is Yud Aleph. Okay, so we start Taner Rabbanan. The Chum taught us in the Brisa. Hamenasech shloishes lugamayim b'chog b'chutz is chayiv. That if somebody pours 3 lugan of water outside during Sukkot, so then they're chayiv. Rabbi Lazar says, Milan l'shem chag chayiv. If he filled them up, if he filled up a vessel for the purpose of the chag, he's chayiv. So the question is, what exactly is going on over here? That the Chum say they give a share of 3 lugim, right? That if you're menasech 3 lugim on chag, you're chayiv b'chutz. And Rabbi Lazar throws in that if you fill up a vessel l'shem chag, he's chayiv. So does this is what exactly is he saying?
Also, what vessel in the Beis Hamikdash is containing 1 lug?
Right. So I don't know. At the same time, it's about we're about to see we're about to see an afkamina in 1 second about the size of the vessel and if it has to be dafka or not. So my benau, what's the difference between the Chachamim, the Tanakama, and Rebbe Lazar? Samar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak explains B'yesher b'mayim kamifligi, that the machlekes is whether or not there's a shear, which means an upper level shear. The minimum level would be what? 3 lugin. Okay?
Yeah.
How much would it go up to? So this is the machlekes. Who holds what?
Because we also have by Menachos ein bilo with that if you mix a vessel that has more than shishim there, there's no bila. The bila stops there.
Right. Right.
So this principle is here also.
Right.
That we need shlosh lugim. Why? Because we have a kli that holds 3 lugim.
Right. 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 So this right. Okay. So that's how you're understanding it. That you need it because there's no size, right, that's less than that. However, if let's say you had a kli that could have 6 lugin, so are you allowed to put in 6 lugin and then just take 3 out for the nesachim? So this is the machlekes. The machlekes is whether you could have an upper measure or not. So according to Rabbi Lazar, you're not allowed to, right? It has to be exactly 3 lugin, and according to the Tanakama, you're allowed to have it more. And then
if we use any vessel that's more than 3 lugim, there's no kli. It shows it isn't the kodesh, the waters there.
Right. So that's what Rabbi Lazar holds. Rabbi Lazar holds that it has to be exactly 3 lugin, otherwise it doesn't work. So Rav Papa gives another explanation between what's the machlekes over here. Okay, so this is a little complicated over here. So he says, "Bekarvu," we're at the top of Kuf Yud Aleph and Aleph now. Bekarvu nesachim b'midbar pligi. Now, what's Rabbi Lazar and the Tanakama arguing about? They're arguing whether or not the nesachim are brought in the midbar. What does that mean? How do we understand this? That according to Rabbi Lazar, he holds that they were not brought, and according to the Tanakama, he holds that they were brought. What difference, what shaykhs does this have over here? So let's see the top Rashi. Rashi says, "V'tarvayu islu yeshil amayim." Both of them agree that there's an upper shear of 3 lugin for the water. And sukkis. And when you fill it up more than 3 lugim, then the kli is not b'kodesh. Yeah, v'tanakama de mechayev. And the Tanakama, who's mechayev, loy boy ben esachim kedushas kli l'chayev alein b'chutz. And what's going on over here? The Tanakama holds as follows. What?
Here disqualifies the klishos because it's b'chutz.
So that's not what it's saying.
No.
What it's saying is that there's no kedusha. Right?
No,
well, let's understand what's the case over here, okay? So the case is a unique case. Let's read the Rashi and then we'll explain the case, okay? So he holds, the Tanakama holds that you don't need Kedushas Kli, right? Why? The Kesavar, Kirvu Nesachem Ba'ayel Mayit Shebamidbar Kol Arba'am Shana. He holds as follows: that the nesachim in the midbar, right, were brought, that it was brought for the 40 years in the midbar. Therefore, hilchach. So when the Torah talks about when they came to Eretz Yisrael, lamadnu ba, it comes to teach us that in the 14 years when Klal Yisrael initially entered Eretz Yisrael, when they were in Gilgal, and the Bamas were permitted, Kisam Parak Basra, like we learned later on, so then every Bama Ketana needs Nisachim. So what we're saying is follows. It's like this. We're not going to complete the Rashi. But the idea is as follows. That in the midbar, if you hold that there was Nisachim in the midbar that was brought, so then what happened in the Mishkan? So then what happens when they came into Eretz Yisrael? So it says in the pasuk you have to bring Nisachim. But we know that you have to bring Nisachim because they were already bringing Nisachim. So what's unique when you're coming into Eretz Yisrael? What's added when you come into Eretz Yisrael? Is that, what was added is that now Klal Yisrael can bring Karbanis on a Bamas Yachid. And on the Bamas Yachid, you bring Nisachim. That's what was added.
And the Bamas Yachid doesn't need a Shir also.
Yes. A Bamas Yachid, you can have a Kli Sharetz with a Bamas Yachid. So therefore, you don't need a Kli Sharetz for Nisachim. This is the whole proof. Yeah, we follow? That's the proof over here. So according to the Tanakama, you don't need a Kli Sharetz. And according to Rabbi Elazar, you do need a Kli Sharetz. Why? Because Rabbi Elazar holds there was no Nisachim in the midbar. So therefore, when the Torah says that you have to bring Nisachim, what's it talking about? Where do you have to bring Nisachim? The Bama Gedaila. And the Bama Gedaila, is there a Kli Sharetz with the Bama Gedaila? Yes, there is. So therefore, you need a Kli Sharetz. If you're able to bring it on a Bama Ketana like the Tanakama, then you don't need a Kli Sharetz. If you could only bring it on a Bama Gedaila, then you do need a Kli Sharetz. Ravina Amar. Ravina explains. Where that they are arguing, Rabbi Elazar and Chacham are arguing whether or not we derive the nesachim of the water on Sukkot from the nesachim of the wine. Why? What's the difference between the two? So both of them agree that in the midbar it was offered. Therefore, they agree it could be brought on private bamis without a Kli Sharetz. Yes? So what's the machlekes over here? The question is that if somebody pours water that was not consecrated in a vessel. So according to the Tanakama, are you chayev for water or not?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
So he would say no. Okay? I'm sorry. He says that you are, right? Why? Because he says that we do learn it from the wine. What does Rabbi Elazar hold?
But
Rabbi Elazar holds that we don't. Should we see this in Rashi?
Why do we have? We know that the Korban Tumah that regulates it.
Yeah, but the thing over here is that we're talking about the water.
So
the question is, are we going to derive the halachis of the water, the nesachim for the water, from the nesachim of the wine? What we're saying is over here, we agree that with the wine you don't need a Kli Sharetz, because they both agree that in the midbar that they
did not use
in the midbar, did they have it or not?
No.
Yes, they didn't use. In the midbar they had a Kli Sharetz because it was the Mishkan.
Yeah.
But because they had nesachim in the midbar, why did the Torah have to repeat it and reiterate it? It's to allow for a bama katana, and a bama katana doesn't need a Kli Sharetz. So they both agree that you don't need a Kli Sharetz. Okay, so the question just is, right? So what were they saying? So what were they holding? So they hold that you don't need a Kli Sharetz. The question is, so if somebody brings wine outside the Beis Hamikdash without consecrating them in a proper Kli, are they chayev or not? If they both hold that you don't need a Kli Sharetz, so are you chayev if you don't bring them in a proper Kli?
It depends when.
So for wine.
No. If it's if I'll be in the Midbar or I'll be in Eretz Yisrael.
In Eretz Yisrael, when there's a Beis HaMikdash.
But Beis HaMikdash definitely is high.
Right. So if, let's say, you did it in the Beis HaMikdash without a Kli Sharis, so are you chayav? So because we find the concept of nisachim without a Kli Sharis, if you offered nisachim without a proper Kli Sharis, so then you are still chayav. But that's what? Bachot. That's only with what? With wine. How about with water? So we're saying, according to the Tanna Kama, you are chayav, and according to Rabbi Lazar, are you chayav or not? You would be pater just by water. Okay, so again, we have three shittas over here, yes? What are our three shittas over here? What did we say is the machlekes between Rabbi Lazar and the Chum? So Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak said that it's a question of whether there's an upper level, right, of water. Is it 3 lugim, or, right, does it have to be precisely 3 lugim, or if, let's say, you had 6 lugim, right, you could take out 3. Reb Papa said that the question is whether or not they offer nesachim in the midbar, which would therefore impact whether or not the bamas had nesachim without a Kli Sharis. And if you hold, right, that nesachim, that they did have nesachim without a Kli Sharis, right, because they had nesachim in the midbar, so then you're only chayiv according to Rebbe Lazar, right? It depends. According to Rebbe Lazar, he holds that it wasn't brought in the desert. So therefore, why did we have to mention it? For the Bava G'dayla, right? So a Bava K'tana that doesn't have a Kli Sharis, are you chayiv or not? According to Rebbe Lazar, no. According to the Tanna Kama, yes. Okay, that's the second explanation. The third explanation, Ravina says that the question is whether or not we derive Nisach HaMayim from Nisach HaYayin. Yes? Yeah. And what do they hold about do you need a Kli Sharis, yes or no? By wine, yes or no? What do they hold? They hold you don't need a Kli Sharis, right? But that's by wine. How about by water? Do we need a Kli Sharis? That's the machlekes. Tanna Kama holds you do in order to be. What does the Tanna Kama hold?
The Tanna Kama holds that we do.
He says when you don't have the Tanna Kama is more machmer over here, right? In these cases, according to Rashi, in all 3 cases, right? The Tanna Kama is more machmer. So therefore, what does the Tanna Kama hold? In what case are you chayiv, even if there's no Kli Sharis? According to Rebbe Lazar, you need a Kli Sharis. It's very simple to understand. Tanna Kama, machmer, Rebbe Lazar is mekel. Not according to everybody in the first case, but in these 2 cases, yes. Okay? So far, so good. Nobody said that this Gemara is easy. Tana Rabbana. Okay? The Chacham taught. This first part we did a little bit yesterday, but I wanted to go over it. If somebody pours 3 lugan of wine outside, so they're chayiv. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Lazar, son of Rabbi Shimon, says, "Busha kitchen kli." That's only true if it was mekudesh in a kli. Okay, so that's what we're seeing. My benaihu. What's the difference between the Tanna Kama and Rebbe Lazar? So Rabbi bar Yitzchak. So Rabbi bar Yitzchak says, the question is as follows. They both agree that, of course, the vessel is consecrated. The question just is that when it's overflowing from the vessel, is that overflow also consecrated? So according to the Tanna Kama, is it consecrated? Yes, it is. According to Rebbe Lazar, according to who? According to the Tanna Kama, right? If it's touching just the other wine, even if it never actually made it right into the kli, so then it's holy. What? Yeah, it's coming out, right? It overflowed. Okay, but Rebbe Lazar holds that it's only the wine that actually stayed in the kli. Are you chayiv? Okay, Rabbi the son of Rabbi says, the machlekes is whether or not libations were offered on a bama, rektana, so that is the machlekes. Okay, we've looked at Dani Tanai. That's what we just saw. Okay, this is the second instance that we'll see in our Gemara of this machlekes. Desani, as we saw in a brayso, a private bama does not need nesachim. Divrei Rabbi. These are the words of who? of Rabbi. The Chacham say te'una nisachim. It does require nisachim. Okay, so what would Rebbe Lazar hold? Rebbe Lazar's Mekel, remember, right?
Yeah.
So what would Rebbe Lazar hold? That it doesn't need it, right? Therefore, there's no consecration. So there, when you bring it, it has to be consecrated. If you bring it in a vessel that was not consecrated, are you chayiv or pater, according to Rebbe Lazar, who's Mekel?
As long as it's in a kli shor.
But it's not a kli shor.
No, it's not.
You're pater. How about according to the other shita? According to the Chachamim?
Yeah. You
would be. And this machlekes tanam is like the other machlekes tanam. This is the third instance that we see it, right? The san yaz we learned in a brayso ki sabayu when Klal Yisrael will come to Eretz Yisrael. Latina nesachim bama gedayla kasim daber. This to require nesachim on a bama gedayla. At time bama gedayla, you're saying that this is talking about a bama gedayla. Pardon?
No.
Yeah, bama ketana. Or maybe there's even talking about a bama ketana. When the pasuk says that you're going to the land of the dwellings that I'm giving you, so what does it mean? El eretz seichem, to the land of your dwellings. What does that mean? Why?
Because it's for everybody.
Because it has to be everybody's dwelling. Because what are we referring to? We're referring to the actual bama itself. Now, who's this bama shaykh to? Everybody. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. That's what Rabbi Shmuel says. Rabbi Akiva says something else. It says kisabayu. When it says kisabayu, when you will come, latina nisachim b'bama ketana kasam medaber. That's to require nisachim on a bama ketana. Right? Why are you saying a bama ketana? Maybe it's a bama gedayla. When the Torah says eretz mashreseichem, hooray! Behold, right? Which means as follows. It's the bamas we're talking about, right? It's shaykh to everybody. What does mashreseichem mean? Your dwellings, which means it's shaykh to you, to all of your dwellings, right? So I wanted to understand it as follows, which is that according to Rabbi Yishmael, who holds that it's by a bama gedayla, so he holds that we're looking at the chefza, we're looking at the actual bama itself, and we're saying, is this bama shaykh to everybody or not? And then Rabbi Akiva says, no, don't look at the bama, look at the individual. And is the individual shaykh to these bamas, to these other bamas? So yes, because it has to be that it's the type of bama that's shaykh to all individuals, right? Which is what? Which is in your dwellings, in my personal dwelling, right? So it's about me, where my dwelling is, not where the bama's dwelling is, right? It's my dwelling. So okay, it's just an idea. All right, so so let's continue. So now let's try to understand what's going on over here in this machlekes. Why would Rabbi Yishmael hold that it's only by a bama gedayla, that you could only bring the nesachim on a bama gedayla? Why? So it gets back to our original machlekes. Do you believe that we brought nesachim in the midbar according to Rabbi Yishmael? Yes or no? No. Would you have brought it in the midbar? Huh? No. They were not offered in the midbar. Therefore, when we came into Eretz Yisrael, when the Torah said that you have to bring the nesachim, who's that for? It's for, right, that's for a bama gedayla. Not a bama ketana. Well, different Rabbi Akiva, but according to Rabbi Akiva, who holds that it's for that the bama ketanas have to bring it, so he holds karvan nesachim b'midbar. Okay, so he holds that it was brought in the midbar. Therefore, when we came into Eretz Yisrael, why did we need the pasuk to tell us that we have to bring the nesachim? What's that going for? A bama ketana. Yeah, so far so good. Like I said, nobody said that this sugya was easy. Okay, let's go
back to the Beirut Sim now.
Yeah, well,
go back to what we originally discussed.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, the next sugya isn't super simple either. But let's continue. Rav Nechemia says, so that's what it says in the Mishnah, that if somebody brought the Shiyarei Hadam outside, they are chayiv. Yes? So far so good? Some Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Nechemiah taught this according to the Shita that Shirayim are mak. What's the Shirayim? Where do you generally pour the Shirayim from the dam? On the side, on the base of the Mizbeach. Okay? So that is his Shita. Okay? So he holds Shirayim ma'akvin. So Meisvei, we have a question. Rabbi Nechemiah says Shiari Adam Shekivim B'chutz Chayev, that the Shiari Adam that you brought outside of the base of Mikdash is Chayev. Amalei Rabbi Kiva told him, Valei Shiari Adam Shiari Mitzvahem. But aren't the Shirayim just considered Shiari Mitzvah? They're just remnants of a mitzvah, which means that they're not essential, right? So right, exactly. So you shouldn't be Chayev. So Amar Loi. So Rabbi Nechemiah told him that the limbs and the fat should be mechiach. That what? Shein shiarim mitzvah. They're not ma'akiv, right? They're also shiarim of the mitzvah. V'makrivan b'chutz chayev, and somebody brings them b'chutz is chayev. So Amar Loi, Rabbi Kiva told him, Loi, no. Im amarta be'var miftarim shen tchil savaida. Evar miftarim are unique because they are the start of a new avodah. Taimer. But you should say, but the Shiari Adam is not the start of a new Avodah. So therefore what? Therefore it's just a remnant. Yes, so that's why you're not Chayev. Right, so even though by P'darim and Evarim it's not Ma'akiv, but it's a new Avodah. Over here, it's not a new Avodah, so therefore what should be the halacha? What should be the halacha over here? By Shiari Adam. What's Rabbi Akiva saying? Should you be chayev or pater? Rabbi Akiva is saying you should be pater, right? Because it's not ma'akiv, and it's not part of the avodah. Yeah. So if Rabbi Nechemiah holds that it is ma'akiv, Leimalei should have told Rabbi Akiva ani nami mi'akvi. These are also mi'akiv. Why didn't he tell Rabbi Akiva? Why did he instead say that evar mufdar yechichu? It must be that he holds what? That it's not ma'akiv. Had he held that it's ma'akiv, he should have said it's ma'akiv. So then, therefore, Rabbi Akiva is asking him a very good question. If you hold that it's not ma'akiv, and it's only shiari mitzvah, so then it shouldn't be ma'akiv. It's part of the same avodah, right? So then it shouldn't be, you shouldn't be chayiv on it, right? Absolutely, yeah. Tiyopta. So it's taka. It's a good question, but right there's an obvious answer. But we'll see in the Gemara what the Gemara says. That now that Rav Ada bar Abba said that the machlokes is only regarding the blood inside, but in the outer shirayim from the chatais outside. Everybody agrees that it's not ma'akiv. Okay? So Rav Ada bar Abba is saying that haka, inside, it is ma'akiv. Okay? So Kikam Rav Nechemiah b'shirayim apnimim. When did Rav Nechemiah say that it is ma'akiv? In which case, and that you're chayiv, is only on the blood from the chatas pnimis. Kitanyahi b'shirayim achitzainim. But that which the Brisa taught, right, which is that it's not that you're pater, what's that talking about? What type of blood from what type of chatas? From the pnimim or the chitzainim? Which one? If the pnimim is ma'akiv and the chitzainim is not ma'akiv, so in which one would you be chayiv if you bring it outside? The pnimis, exactly, not the chitzainim. Okay? So that could be the answer. The Rabbi Nechemiah holds that it's talking about the chatas pnimis. So the Gemara immediately jumps on it. It says, Yihachi, if that's the case, name alei, let Rabbi Nechemiah tell Rabbi Akiva ki amri anabe pnimim. Why doesn't he say, I'm only talking about the inner one, I'm not talking about the outer one? Rabbi Nechemiah, does he give this answer? No. Therefore, what must it seem? That he holds, it is not mi'akiv, right? If he held this mi'akiv, he should have said so. Same type of kasha, yes? Are we still together here? Yeah. So now we see that Reb Nechemiah holds that they're both ma'akiv then. Okay? So he's saying that they're both the same. So he holds that they're both ma'akiv. So why didn't he say that they're ma'akiv? Why didn't he say that they're ma'akiv? Yeah? So Ella Ledvarav Rabbi Akiva Kamer. So the reason why he threw in Amar Mufadarim, right? Why did he tell him, oh wait, you see a case of something that's not essential, that you're still chayav b'chutz? Why didn't he just tell him it's ma'akev? Because he was saying, you Rabbi Akiva hold it's not ma'akev. But even according to you Rabbi Akiva, right, you should still say that you're chayav if you bring it outside. Why? Because we see Evar Mifandar. So Rabbi Akiva said that that's not good. But according to him, what did he himself hold? Is it ma'akev or not? What did Rabbi Nechemia hold?
Yeah,
He held that Shiyari Hadam is yes ma'akev. Okay, good. Now we are up to the Mishnah. Somebody performed malika on a bird, okay, inside the Beis Hamikdash, and then he offered it outside the Beis Hamikdash. Is he chayiv or potter? He's chayiv if he did malika. Why is that? Why is he chayiv?
Because you
Correct. Because there was a good avodah inside, and then you brought it outside. Yeah, good. Malik b'chutz ve'ela b'chutz. If he did malika outside and then he brought it up outside, he's potter. Because why?
Because it was possible.
It was always possible. Potter. Somebody shechted the bird inside and then he brought it outside. Is he chayiv or potter? He's potter. Why? It's supposed to be malika. Shachap b'chutz ve'ela b'chutz is chayiv. But if he shechted outside and he brought it outside, he's chayiv.
Why? Because there's no malika.
There's no malika outside, right? So he did the avodah that he was supposed to do outside. Okay? Nimsa, we find. Derech achsher b'pnim petur b'chutz, derech achsher mibachutz petur mib'pnim. That the way that something is chayiv inside, right, potters it if you do it outside. So for instance, malika is what you need to do inside. So if you do malika outside, what happens? You're potter. Exactly. But, and derech achsher b'chutz, if you shecht, right, outside, that's the way you're chayiv. If you shecht inside, what's the halacha? You're potter. Rav Shimon argues, he says, kol shechayav nala b'chutz, any carbon that you're chayiv outside, chayav al kiyetza by b'fnim, kishala b'chutz. So you're chayiv on that equivalent, okay, if you initially performed the avodah inside and then you offered it outside, okay? Except in a case where you shechted inside and you brought it up outside. So one more time. What's Rav Shimon saying? He's saying any carbon that you would bring outside, yeah, that you're chayiv at least, if you would bring it outside, and so then you're chayiv if you did that avodah b'fnim, yeah, and it was offered outside. What does this mean? What's the case going on? That if you kol shechayav nala b'chutz
is machshor the korban.
In which case?
On the b'fnim, it's machshor the korban.
Well, how's he arguing? Like, what's he saying differently? He's saying any offering that you're chayiv b'chutz, right? When you do its initial avodah b'chutz, so then you're chayiv on a similar one inside, if you started it inside and then you did it outside.
He's saying if you did shchita b'fnim and you took it b'chutz, you'd be chayiv.
Wait! He says chutz min hashechet b'fnim u'mala b'chutz. He's saying right away, the one case that you would think he's talking about, he excludes. He immediately says chutz min hashechet b'fnim u'mala b'chutz. So what's the other case exactly? What is the case? So the Gemara, this is the part of the Gemara, believe you me. Okay, we will see this, good and well. Let's see the Gemara. Okay, it's a very complicated, this little piece. What we're going to see, just a heads up, Rashi will point out that there's a missing version over here. That it seems that there's missing cases in our Mishnah. Okay, because otherwise, like what in the world is Rav Shimon going on? But right now we're assuming that this is the intact Mishnah. Okay, for our purposes. Why does it say hechsherai? Why does it say that anything that derech hechsherai b'chutz, B'turim mibifnim. The way you're machshir it outside. Since when are you machshir a carbon outside the Beis Hamikdash?
Never.
So why is it using the word hechsher? You should say chiyuv.
Yeah.
So the Gemara says you're right. Tanei chiyuvai. Right? You should say it means a chiyuv. Reb Shimon Omer. Let's continue. So now we're getting into this Reb Shimon. Okay, fasten our seatbelts. Let's go. What in the world is Reb Shimon talking about? If you're saying he's talking about the Reisha in the Mishnah, if you did Malika inside, and then you brought it outside, Potter. Right, Chayiv in that first case, right? If you did Malika inside and then you brought it outside, you're Chayiv. And if you did Malika outside and you brought it outside, you're Potter. Reb Shimon told him, right, told the Tanakama, and he says, no, just like you did, right, just like you're Chayiv inside for Malika, outside you're also Chayiv. The problem is, if in fact that's what he's saying, then Hai Kol Shechayav Olav B'chutz, right? Why did he say that Kol, right, Shechayav Olav Mi B'chutz? That's what he said. Any sacrifice which you're Chayiv Mi B'chutz. He should have said on the contrary. He should have said anything that you're Chayiv Bifnim, right? Malika, where are you Chayiv from? Bifnim, and we're extrapolating for Chutz, not vice versa. He should have said Kol Shechayav Olav Mi Bifnim Mi B'Helei. Right? He should have started with the inside. So that's clearly not the case. Ella must be so maybe what he means to say is just like somebody who does Malika. Outside it doesn't become chayiv. So also if you do Malika inside and then you go out, you offer it outside, you're also not chayiv. Right? Which is exactly, the Tanakhama said you're chayiv, so he's coming to argue on that. Hi kol shein chayav mi b'chutz mi b'yalei. Right? Why did he say kol shechayavin alav b'chutz? He should have said kol she'ein chayavin alav b'chutz. Why? Because if the case is that we're talking, right, that any bird in which you're not chayiv mi b'chutz because you did malika outside instead of shchita, so then you're also not chayiv if you did malika inside and you offered it outside. If that's what he means to say, so what's his starting point? He should have said kol she'ein chayav alav, because his starting point is that you're not chayiv with malika outside, so therefore you're not chayiv inside. Instead, what's his starting point? He said anytime where you are chayiv, but you're not chayiv in this case. So this case is now excluded. So what is he talking about? Allah seifa, right? We're working off of the power of elimination right now. Okay? So Allah seifa. So rather he's going on the seifa. Sheichad oif b'pnim v'hela b'chutz is potter. A bird inside and he brought it outside, he's potter. Shachet b'chutz v'hela b'chutz is chayiv. But if he performed the shechita outside and then he offered it outside, he is chayiv. Reb Shimon said, just like inside you're not chayiv, outside also you're not chayiv. So what's the case? So the case is that you did shechita inside, you brought it outside, you're potter. If you did shechita outside, you brought it outside, you're chayiv. Reb Shimon says, no, just like you're potter inside for shechting and offering it outside, so too, if you shechted it outside and you brought it outside, then you are potter. So the problem is like this. What's the starting point? What's the starting point? The starting point is in the Beis Hamikdash. And what did he do in the Beis Hamikdash? He shechted. And then if you shecht and offer it, you're not chayiv. So why does it say kol shechayavin? You're potter. Right? Yeah. So it can't be talking about that case either. So we just knocked out all the cases. Okay? So Ella, what must it be? So it's talking, so then what's it referring to? Right? So then maybe what it means is that just like bachutz, just like outside you're chayiv, inside also you're chayiv. So if you perform shechita outside, right, that's what he means. Instead of the starting point being inside, the starting point is outside, right? Let's be mechayiv him now. Right? Maybe he's talking about that you did shechita outside, so inside you're chayiv. So if you did shechita inside, right? So then what would be the halacha? And then you brought it outside. What would be the halacha? You would be chayiv. That's what we're saying. So haktani, this can't be true. Because the Mishnah said, chutz min ha-sheichem ibifnim mala b'chutz. This is exactly the case that he excluded. right? This would have been the case. This is the case that makes sense, right? If you read Reb Shimon, this is the case it seems he's talking about. There's only one problem. What's the problem? He explicitly says it's not his case, right? He says something that seems to imply that it is this case, and then he says no. So he himself excludes this case. So what's going on? So clearly it's nothing to do with our Mishnah. Amar Zeiri. Zeiri says, Shchitas behemoth, so clearly there are other cases that are not mentioned in our Mishnah, which is missing, and that's what we are referring to over here. Okay? So Shchitas behemoth b'layla ikaminayu. There's another case over here, which is shechting a behemoth at night. That's the machlek. Vachi kamer, and this is what the Mishnah actually originally said. Also, if somebody shechted an animal inside at night, and he brought it outside, he is pater. Shachar b'chutz b'layla v'ela b'chutz is chayev. But if he shechted it outside at night, and then he offered it up, he is chayev. Why are you chayev in that case? Right.
But
It's not enough.
when he shechts at night, it becomes possible automatically.
No, but this is outside now.
The chutz.
The chutz, the light. Shchita, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
He's being makriv it though. So it's fine.
But even before you stand, but to begin with, in Shechita Balayla, passive, the call.
Right. Well, the idea is as follows: is because we're looking, right, mibachotz, because we're saying that it is considered a valid shchita, as opposed to by day, right? Inside it's not considered. At night inside the Beis Hamikdash it's not considered a valid shchita, but outside the Beis Hamikdash it is considered a valid shchita, even though it wouldn't work inside the Beis Hamikdash. It's a chiddush. All right, let's continue. Shachat b'chutz b'layla v'ela b'chutz is chayiv, right? So if you shechted it outside at night and you brought it up at night, it is chayiv. And Rabbi Shimon says, Kol shechiyam nala b'chutz, any carbon that you brought it up outside, chayav and al kayetze by b'fnim v'ela b'chutz. So any such carbon, right, that you're chayiv outside, you're chayiv also b'fnim if you shechted it inside and then you offered it outside. So therefore, right, so if you shechted an animal inside at night, then you offered it outside, so then what would be the halacha? You would be chayiv according to Rabbi Shimon. Except for which case? Except for the case of a bird. Okay? Why?
Because he didn't.
Exactly. Because he didn't. Right. It's not considered anything inside. All right. So, but what would it be if you did the shechita outside? What did we say in the Mishnah? If you did the shechita outside and the offering outside, you would be chayav, right? It's only because you did the shechita inside. Okay, let's continue. Rabbi Amar. Rabbi says, Kabbalah b'chli choil ika benayu. The case is, right, receiving the blood in a kli chol, in an unconsecrated vessel. We're back to this machlekes, right?
Then it's not mekudesh.
The question is, do you need a kli chol or not? ZEVACHIM. This is what we're saying. Also, if you receive the blood, right, b'fnim, in a kli chol, and then you brought it outside your potter, is chayiv. But if somebody receives the blood outside in a kli chol, and then he brings it, and then he offers it outside, so then you are chayiv. Why? What's the difference, outside or inside?
Because it doesn't have to be makudesh outside.
Very good. Right? Because, I mean, the understanding is that because automatically by the shechita becomes pasul, we don't look at it that there's a Kabbalah or anything. Right? Like, that's not the big thing. The point is that as soon as it became pasul, so then it doesn't need everything else. Right? It doesn't need a klishayas or anything. Alright. Rabbi Shimon says, Kol shechayav nala b'chutz, right? It says anything that you're chayev b'chutz, when its original abayda was done b'chutz, chayav and al kayetze by b'fnim v'hela b'chutz. So you're also chayev if you did it inside and then offered it outside. So what would be that case here? B'fnim chayil. So if inside you were mekabelet in a kli chayil, and then you offered it outside, what would Reb Shimon hold? You would be chayiv. Which case would you not be chayiv? Except for somebody who performed shechita on a bird inside, and then he offered it outside. After the Sani Avod Shmuel by Rabbi Yitzchak, so now there's one more explanation.
There's no Kabbalah Saddam in life, is that right?
Where?
Yeah, there's no Kabbalah Saddam.
Yeah, it's not. I don't believe it's Kabbalah Saddam. There's you have to cover it, but yeah. All right. Hadar Tani Avod Shmuel, depending on the thing. Hadar Tani Avod Shmuel by Rabbi Yitzchak. Now that the father of Shmuel by Rabbi Yitzchak taught the following brayta. He says, "Amalek oififnim v'helu b'chutz is chayav." If somebody performed malika on a bird inside and then offered it outside, you are chayiv. Molak b'chutz v'helu b'chutz. If you did malika outside and you brought it outside, you're pater. What did Reb Shimon say? Reb Shimon mechayiv. Reb Shimon's mechayiv. Okay? So wait 1 second. Now that we have this new thing from Reb Shimon, right? Reb Shimon said explicitly that he's chayiv, right? So now let's reread the Mishnah. Okay, we're getting back to this because we already excluded this case, right? Now we're bringing it back. Reb Shimon Hasam Kai. Reb Shimon is going on that case. Okay, Usni. And the way you understand what Reb Shimon's saying is kol shech, which we weren't going to do otherwise. But now that we have an explicit brisa that says, that Reb Shimon says that he's mechayiv if you brought the bird outside, right? Even though the malika was done outside. So the way you understand it is, what's the words that he said? He said, kol shechayavna la b'chutz chayavna al kayetzi by b'fnim shehela b'chutz. Okay? So what does that mean? Kol shechayavna la b'fnim v'hela b'chutz chayavna la b'chutz. Okay? It's kol shechayavna la b'fnim v'hela b'chutz. So it's any case in which exactly that you're chayiv if you originally did it inside and then you brought it outside. So even if you did it outside, and what's the case that you did it outside? What's the case that you did it outside, that you're chayiv inside? Malika. And so then if you offered the malika outside, so you did the malika outside and the hala, then you are chayiv. So tomorrow we continue with the Mishnah. Okay, very good. Have a great day.